Imagine this. You're reaching into your kitchen cabinet, grabbing a handful of nuts you've always thought were healthy, a go-to snack you've trusted for years. Maybe you sprinkle them on your oatmeal or toss them in a trail mix, feeling good about your choice. But what if I told you that those very nuts could be silently poisoning your body, raising your risk of heart disease by a staggering 48%, clogging your arteries, and even damaging your brain? That's not a scare tactic, it's a chilling truth backed by research from the Journal of the American College of Cardiology. For those of us over 60, the wrong nuts aren't just a minor misstep. They can be a ticking time bomb, quietly, wreaking havoc on our hearts, livers, and minds. And the scariest part, one of the most popular nuts in your pantry right now, a favorite among health gurus and low-carb dieters, contains a toxic substance that could be harming you with every bite. You're probably eating it without a second thought, and it's time to stop before it's too late. Welcome to Legacy of Old Age, the channel where we empower you to live your golden years with strength, clarity, and joy. I'm thrilled you're here because today, we're diving deep into the world of nuts to uncover the heroes that can transform your health and the villains you need to banish from your diet. We're going to reveal the 4 best nuts for seniors, the 4 you must avoid at all costs, and a shocking secret about the deadliest nut that's hiding in plain sight. This is the ultimate guide to nuts for your heart, brain, and longevity. So grab a cup of tea, get comfortable, and let's save your health together. Before we dive in, hit that like button if you're ready to take control of your wellness. Subscribe to Legacy of Old Age with notifications on, and drop a comment to tell us where you're watching from. We love hearing from our amazing community. Let's set the stage. As we age, every choice we make about what we put in our bodies matters more than ever. Our bones are more fragile, our hearts work harder, and our brains need extra support to stay sharp. Nuts, those tiny morsels we often overlook, can be a game changer. They're packed with healthy fats, vitamins, minerals, and antioxidants that target the exact challenges we face in our 60s, 70s, and beyond. My Aunt Clara, who's 78 and still leads the dance floor at every family wedding, swears by her daily handful of nuts. She says they keep her energy high, her memory crisp, and her heart strong. And she's not alone. Studies from the American Heart Association show that the right nuts can cut your risk of heart disease, boost cognitive function, and even help you live longer. But choose the wrong ones, and you're rolling the dice with your health, inviting inflammation, high blood pressure, and even liver damage. Today, we're going to arm you with the knowledge to make the right choices, backed by science, real-life stories, and practical tips you can start using today. Let's start with a nut that's a true lifesaver for seniors: almonds. These crunchy gems are like a fortress for your bones. After 65, our bones naturally lose density, making fractures a serious threat. A quarter cup of almonds delivers 97 milligrams of calcium, a critical building block for keeping your skeleton strong. A 2023 study from the National Osteoporosis Foundation found that adequate calcium intake can slash fracture risk by 20% in seniors, which could mean the difference between staying active or facing a long recovery. But almonds are more than just bone builders. They're loaded with vitamin E and magnesium, a powerhouse pair that keeps your heart humming. Magnesium acts like a traffic cop, directing calcium to your bones instead of letting it clog your arteries, which can lead to heart attacks or strokes. Almonds also have monounsaturated fats, the same kind found in olive oil that lower bad LDL cholesterol, a must as heart disease risk spikes with age. Researchers at Tufts University discovered that the flavonoids in almond skins team up with vitamin E to shield your brain cells from oxidative stress, keeping you sharp for everything from solving puzzles to reminiscing with friends. My neighbor, Tom, who's 72, started adding almonds to his morning smoothie, and he says he's never felt more focused during his weekly bridge games. So, how do you make almonds part of your life? Aim for 15 to 20 a day, about a small handful. Choose raw or dry roasted, unsalted almonds with the skin on to get those brain-boosting flavonoids. Sprinkle them on yogurt, toss them in a salad, or enjoy them as a mid-afternoon snack. If digestion is a concern, soak almonds overnight in water to make them softer. It's a trick that's been a game changer for my friend Linda, who's 68 and has a sensitive stomach. One important note: if you have trouble swallowing, chew them thoroughly to avoid choking, a risk that increases as we age. For a fun twist, try blending almonds with a banana and a splash of almond milk for a creamy, nutrient-packed smoothie that feels like a dessert, but fuels your body like a champ. Next up, we have walnuts, a nut that's practically a love letter to your brain. If you've ever cracked open a walnut and noticed it looks like a tiny brain, that's nature's way of saying, eat me for smarts. Walnuts are the richest source of alpha-linolenic acid, a plant-based omega-3 fatty acid that keeps your brain cells firing on all cylinders. A 2024 study in the Journal of Nutrition found that seniors who ate 1.5 ounces of walnuts daily for 8 weeks saw remarkable improvements in memory, processing speed, and mental flexibility skills you need to keep up with your grandkids or dominate at trivia night. But walnuts don't stop at brain power. They're packed with polyphenols, compounds that slip through the blood-brain barrier to fight inflammation and lower the risk of neurodegenerative diseases like Alzheimer's and dementia. A study from the Alzheimer's Association suggests that diets rich in polyphenols can delay cognitive decline by up to 3 years. And here's a surprising perk: walnuts contain melatonin, a hormone that regulates sleep, but declines with age, leaving many seniors tossing and turning. My friend George, who's 72, started eating a handful of walnuts before bed, and he says he's sleeping deeper and waking up ready to tackle his morning walks. Walnuts are also a heart health superstar. They contain arginine, an amino acid that keeps your blood vessels flexible, and their polyphenols reduce oxidative stress, making them a perfect complement to blood pressure medications. A 2023 study from the American Heart Association found that walnuts can lower systolic blood pressure by up to 4 points in seniors, which is huge for the 63% of us dealing with hypertension. So, how do you enjoy walnuts? Aim for 7 to 9 walnut halves a day, about an ounce. Store them in the fridge to keep their delicate oils fresh, and if you want a fun challenge, crack them yourself to keep your fine motor skills sharp. Toss walnuts into a spinach salad with berries, blend them into a homemade pesto, or pair them with a slice of apple to balance their slight bitterness, which comes from their potent antioxidants. My cousin Ray, who's 75, loves chopping walnuts into his oatmeal, and he swears it's why he's still winning at chess against his younger neighbors. Now, let's talk about pistachios, a nut that's criminally underrated, but a true champion for your heart. If high blood pressure is on your radar, and it is for over 60% of seniors in the U.S., pistachios are your secret weapon. They're naturally low in sodium and high in potassium, packing about 200 85 milligrams per serving. Potassium helps your kidneys flush out excess salt, which can lower systolic blood pressure by 3 to 5 points, according to a 2022 study in the Journal of Hypertension. That's like the effect of some medications, but without the side effects. Pistachios also have lutein and zeaxanthin, two carotenoids that protect your eyes from age-related macular degeneration, the leading cause of vision loss after 60. My cousin Linda, who's 68, started eating pistachios daily, and she says her night vision has improved, making her feel safer driving to her weekly book club. What makes pistachios stand out is how practical they are. Shelling them slows you down, which helps you avoid overeating, and turns snacking into a mindful activity that's great for your brain. A 2023 study in the International Journal of Obesity found that the empty shells act as a visual cue, helping you keep portions in check, a big deal for the 25% of seniors with diabetes or pre-diabetes, since pistachios 3 grams of fiber per ounce help stabilize blood sugar. Aim for about 49 pistachios a day, that's roughly an ounce. Choose unsalted or lightly salted ones to keep sodium low, and if arthritis makes shelling tough, look for pre-shelled or half-open pistachios. Toss them into a trail mix with dried cranberries. Sprinkle them over roasted veggies or enjoy them straight from the shell for a satisfying crunch. My friend Susan, who's 69, keeps a small bowl of pistachios on her kitchen counter, and she says the act of shelling them is oddly calming, like a mini meditation session. Finally, we come to the number one nut for seniors, Brazil nuts. These creamy, rich nuts are nothing short of a miracle for your thyroid, an often overlooked gland that controls your energy, metabolism, and mood. Just one Brazil nut delivers 96 micrograms of selenium. That's 137% of your daily needs. Selenium is critical for thyroid function, and up to 20% of people over 65 have thyroid issues, many undiagnosed because symptoms like fatigue or brain fog get dismissed as just aging. A 2023 study in the Thyroid Journal found that selenium deficiency is linked to higher rates of thyroid dysfunction in seniors, which can leave you feeling sluggish and down. Brazil nuts also have unique fatty acids that protect myelin, the sheath around your nerve cells that keeps your reflexes and reaction times quick. My Uncle Ray, who's 75, added Brazil nuts to his routine, and he says he's noticing faster responses when playing cards with his buddies, which keeps him feeling young. Here's where Brazil nuts get really exciting. They might actually slow aging at the cellular level. Emerging research from the National Institute on Aging suggests that their antioxidants could protect telomeres, the caps on your chromosomes that shrink with age, and drive cellular decline. That's like hitting the brakes on aging itself. But Brazil nuts are so potent that you only need 1 or 2 a day more, could lead to selenium toxicity, which can cause hair loss or nerve issues. Choose nuts still in their shells to lock in nutrients, and store them in the fridge to keep their oils fresh. Chop 1 Brazil nut into your morning yogurt, blend it into a smoothie, or enjoy it solo for a buttery, satisfying treat. They're natural. Sweetness makes them a perfect swap for sugary snacks, and their fiber helps with constipation, a common issue for 40% of seniors. My friend Maria, who's 67, says Brazil nuts have become her go-to when she's craving something rich, and she's noticed her energy levels are more stable than ever. Now, let's get serious and talk about the nuts you need to approach with caution or avoid altogether. These aren't evil, but they can pose real risks for seniors if you're not careful. First up, peanuts. I know peanuts are a staple, but they're not even nuts, they're legumes grown underground, which makes them prone to mold and aflatoxins, toxic compounds that can harm your liver and raise cancer risk over time. As we age, our livers' detox abilities weaken, so this is a bigger deal than you might think. A 2022 study in the Journal of Hepatology flagged aflatoxins as a growing concern for older adults. Peanuts are also high in omega-6 fatty acids, which can fuel inflammation, worsening joint pain or heart stress. For the 63% of seniors with high blood pressure, peanuts' hidden sodium in processed forms like peanut butter can be a problem. And if you're on blood thinners like warfarin, peanuts' vitamin K can interfere, a fact many doctors overlook. Let me share a story. My friend Susan, who's 69, used to snack on roasted peanuts every day, thinking they were a health food. She started feeling sluggish, and her blood pressure readings were creeping up. When she swapped peanuts for almonds 3 days a week, she felt a surge of energy, and her doctor was thrilled with her improved numbers. If you love peanuts, opt for natural, unsalted peanut butter and store it properly to avoid rancidity. Limit to a tablespoon a day and pair with anti-inflammatory foods like berries. Better yet, lean on our hero nuts for a safer, more powerful boost. Next, we have cashews, which seem harmless, but can be a sneaky threat for seniors. Cashews are higher in carbs than other nuts, about 9 grams per ounce, and lower in fiber, which can spike blood sugar, a major concern for the 25% of seniors with diabetes and 48% with prediabetes. A 2023 study in diabetes care found that high glycemic snacks like cashews can worsen blood sugar control in older adults. Cashews also contain oxalates, compounds that bind to calcium in your gut, reducing absorption and raising the risk of kidney stones, which affects 10% of seniors. Their smooth, curved shape makes them a choking hazard, especially if you have swallowing issues, a problem for 15% of people over 70. I learned this lesson with my dad, who's 74. He loved cashews but kept coughing after eating them, which scared us. His doctor suggested switching to pistachios, which are easier on the throat, and he's had no issues since. Cashews are often oil roasted and salted, adding unhealthy fats and sodium that strain your heart. If you can't resist, choose raw cashews and limit to a small handful a few times a week. Better yet, swap them for walnuts or almonds for more benefits and fewer risks. My cousin Betty, who's 70, started using almonds in her baking instead of cashews, and she says her joints feel less achy, which she attributes to lower inflammation. Then there's macadamia nuts, which are delicious, but a potential health trap for seniors. These nuts are the most calorie-dense of all, packing 200 calories and 22 grams of fat per ounce, including 3 grams of saturated fat. As our metabolism slows with age, those calories pile on fast, making weight management a struggle. A 2022 study in the Journal of Nutrition found that high-fat nuts like macadamias can raise LDL cholesterol in seniors, undermining their heart-healthy reputation. Their high-fat content can also trigger gallstone pain, a silent issue for 15% of seniors. And let's talk about your teeth. Macadamias are so hard they can crack crowns or damage weakened enamel, a concern as dental health declines after 65. My cousin Betty learned this the hard way. She used to splurge on macadamias, thinking they were a luxury health food. She gained 10 pounds without realizing it and had a painful gallstone episode. When she switched to pistachios, she shed the weight and felt lighter on her feet. Macadamias are also expensive, which can tempt you to buy cheaper, rancid batches that are worse for your health. If you love their buttery flavor, treat them as a rare indulgence, 5 or 6 nuts once a month, and prioritize softer, nutrient-dense options like Brazil nuts. My friend Tom, who's 72, keeps pistachios in his car for snacking instead of macadamias, and he says it saved him money and kept his cholesterol in check. Finally, we come to pine nuts, which might be the most dangerous for seniors. These tiny nuts can interact with over 60% of medications commonly prescribed to older adults, like statins, antidepressants, and blood pressure drugs, potentially reducing their effectiveness or causing side effects. A 2021 study in the Journal of Clinical Pharmacology highlighted food-drug interactions as an underreported issue for seniors. Pine nuts also cause a rare but devastating condition called pine nut syndrome, where you get a bitter, metallic taste in your mouth that can last weeks. This might sound trivial, but for seniors, it can kill your appetite and lead to weight loss or malnutrition, which affects 42% of those with the syndrome, according to a 2023 study in Appetite Journal. My friend Maria, who's 67, experienced this after eating pine nut pesto. She lost her appetite for weeks and dropped 8 pounds, which was dangerous for her slight frame. Pine nuts' small size and slick texture make them an aspiration risk, especially if you take meds that dry your mouth, a problem for 70% of seniors on multiple prescriptions. Their high polyunsaturated fats oxidize quickly, creating inflammatory compounds that worsen arthritis or heart issues. If you use pine nuts in cooking, limit them to a teaspoon in pesto once in a blue moon, and lean on almonds or walnuts for daily snacking. My Uncle Ray, who's 75, switched to walnut-based pesto, and he says it's just as delicious without the scary side effects. So, what's the big picture? The right nuts can be your allies, powering you through your golden years with a strong heart, a sharp mind, and a vibrant spirit. Almonds fortify your bones, walnuts supercharge your brain, pistachios tame your blood pressure, and Brazil nuts keep your thyroid humming. But peanuts, cashews, macadamias, and pine nuts, they're not your enemies, but they demand caution to avoid hidden dangers. And the shocking truth we promised? It's about peanuts, not nuts at all, but legumes that can carry aflatoxins, toxins that quietly harm your liver and increase cancer risk, especially as your body's defenses weaken with age. A 2022 study from the World Health Organization estimates that aflatoxin exposure contributes to thousands of liver cancer cases annually. And seniors are especially vulnerable. Swap peanuts for our hero nuts, and you'll feel the difference in weeks. Here's how to make nuts work for you. Start small, pick 1 or 2 of our top 4 and add them to your daily routine. Consult your doctor, especially if you're on medications or have conditions like diabetes or kidney issues. Check for nut allergies, which affect 5% of seniors, and always choose fresh, unsalted, minimally processed nuts. Store them in the fridge or freezer to keep them fresh, and have fun experimenting with them. Blend almonds into a creamy soup, toss pistachios into a fruit salad, chop walnuts into your granola, or savor a Brazil nut with a piece of dark chocolate for a decadent yet healthy treat. Small changes add up, and over time, these nuts can help you live not just longer, but better, full of energy, clarity, and joy, Let me share one last story. My friend Linda, who's 68, was skeptical when I told her about this nut guide. She'd been eating peanuts and cashews for years, thinking they were doing her good. But she was tired all the time, and her blood sugar was creeping up. I convinced her to try almonds and pistachios for a month. 2 weeks in, she called me, practically bubbling with excitement. She said she had more energy, her doctor was impressed with her blood pressure, and she felt like she was aging backward. That's the power of the right nuts, and I want that for you too. I want to hear from you now. Have you noticed a difference in your health from adding or avoiding certain nuts? Maybe you've got a favorite nut recipe or a story about how a small change made a big impact. Drop it in the comments below. We read every single one, and your stories inspire us all. If this guide has opened your eyes, give it a big thumbs up, share it with a friend who needs to hear this, and subscribe to Legacy of Old Age for more tips to thrive in your golden years. Until next time, keep shining, keep thriving, and let's make these years the best yet. See you in the next video.